as we said, with small shots, there's a slight setup change. If I ask the same question now, which of these two shots is the small shot? Hopefully you can see now with a smaller setup, feet a lot narrower than you were before, okay? You're a lot more down the grip with the handle, which is great, giving you more control of the golf club. You're basically nearer the hitting end down here, okay? So you've got more control of the club. You don't need distance for this shot. It's 20, 30 yard shots at most, okay? Now, in the past, your sort of club went back, not bad in terms of the length back for this shot, but as you came through, there was a distinct sort of sensation. You see if you track your hand, they sort of kind of go this way through impact and sort of lift up quite dramatically then, because you see it's catching top of the golf ball sort of just pops up in the air. The club's actually not making contact with the ground. It's sort of just popping on the top of the golf ball, and the ball sort of pops into the ground, okay? As you finish this swing now, a lot of wrist action there. As that club, you can see sort of just flick past. What we've done is obviously put that club down the left side of your body, so as you go back now, same good backswing with that club sticking out there, and as you swing through, there's no flick of the wrist. The arms have to just keep going with that. So you can see that sort of triangle that you're maintaining now between your arms and the club, or arms and the shoulders, is being maintained. That goal ball just sort of lifting off the ground there nicely as that club just swings through. So a lot less flick required, okay? And I think hip movement's fine. I mean, there's a little bit of rotation there. You could argue there's a bit more body movement than we need, so the hips do sort of go a little bit this way as you go back. That's not too bad. There's a little bit of sort of sitting back kind of that way on the hips there. A little bit, but not too much to be fair. But I think now you're moving the body better. That's going to look like to be more that way, where there's no body movement there at all. The hips aren't going to move at all. I think with a fuller shot, you might see that, but I think if we get more on top of the golf ball and get those hips moving better, you'll be fine, okay? But in terms of the actual movement with the arms and the hands, that's kind of what we're trying to achieve. So we're keeping that angle there in the wrist rather than sort of folding and scooping underneath it. And again, if you see a ball going on the ground, instinctively you want to lift it up in the air. Now, if the ball was sat on a tee peg or on a real fluffy bit of grass on the golf course, which is sort of sat up, and you can get under it, happy days. And you might play a few shots on the golf course where you go whoop and you flip, and it's amazing. It works. But it's going to be 1 in 20 when the ball's sat that well. Most of the time, especially this time of year, the ball's on the mud, it's on the ground, it's going to be horrible sort of lies. You've got to get that club getting to the low point of the golf ball, because the club continues to be going down probably till about your left foot before it starts coming back out the other way. So the low point of the swing is down here and then starts coming up. What you were doing, your low point was back early and then coming up too quickly, trying to lift it up in the air. So depending on what length of shot you've got, if we think about the golf thing we said in the circle, if you've got a small shot, it goes back to there. So that would be maybe your 20-yard shot. If you wanted to go further, we could start utilising that wrist hinge. So the club now would start going up here with the left arm down there. That would be like your 40-yard and then maybe a 60-yard shot there. So depending on what shot you want, you swing the club to said point. So if you want 20 yards, you swing it to there. If you want 40 yards, swing it to there. If you want a full swing, you go 60 yards. So depending on the shot you've got in front. Now again, at the moment, there's a bit of a guess of how far is 40-yard swing. I don't know. When you first start, because the variation in contact, you might make the same swing 3 times and get 3 different distances. So it might go 10 yards, it might go 50 yards, it might go 20 yards, and you're always going to be guessed. Once you start striking it better, when you get this sort of movement now with your arms and you get a more consistent strike, at least then when you swing it from there to there, it will go the same sort of distance pretty much every time. Whereas at the moment now, you might strike it well, or in the middle of the ball, or the ground behind the ball, and the distance will vary from shot to shot. Create a more consistent strike by keeping these arms and the shoulders working better. Then you can just start learning to judge it the same way a kid does to throw a ball. When they first throw a ball, it's like, whee, it goes all over the place. Then over time, they know, okay, if I release the ball here and swing it this hard, it will go to the basket. If I want to throw it further, I have a longer swing. And that's just things you develop. Like I say, level 1, learn to hit the golf ball. You've done that tick. Level 2, hit the ball up in the air. You do that. Number 3, hit it as far as you can. You get quite a bit of distance when you hit the ball correctly. Level 4, hit it straight. No problem at all. Now on level 5, it's saying how far the shots need to go. So you need to learn, okay, what does a 10-yard shot go? How far is a 20-yard shot? How far is a 50-yard shot? Because on the golf course, these are the sort of length shots you're going to have. So you've been rounded up, obviously, but on the golf course, the first shot, Cottrell Park's about 110, I think, yards. As assuming you go beyond halfway, which you could do with a full swing, you then got a 40-yard shot or a 30-yard shot. And then if you miss it that one, you have a 10-yard shot. So trying to get the ball to a distance. So when you go to driving range, rather than just whack, 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 whack golf balls, try, okay, right, I'm going to hit this golf ball to that red flag. Or to the 50 sign, or to the 100, or whatever, or even to some of these cones out here, or whatever you want to try and do, or pick a spot if you're on the net there, pick a sort of plank of wood along the net. Okay, I'll do the 5th plank along, or whatever. So you start learning. Okay, if I do this with the golf swing and I swing it from kind of there to there, okay, the ball's going to go a yardage, and just see where the ball goes. As long as you get a reasonable contact, which hopefully with this arm movement now we'll start creating more, we can start learning to judge distance better, get the ball going the right distance. Okay. Make sense?
So with the pitching wedge then, what first shots that I should be doing?
Up to about 50 yards, I would say. We'll have a couple of full shots with it now, just to sort of see how far it goes, so you can sort of log that distance there in your own mind, okay, and then we'll know, okay, so that's up to 60 yards or 50 yards, and then to go shorter, we can shorten the swing.
And is that, so when I'm starting, I use like a 5 or a 6, something like that?
Potentially, yeah.
And then if I'm in the grass, then I try and use, obviously I have to be using it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the longer the grass gets, if you're off the fairway and the longer grass, you need more loft.
Yeah.
So the more angle you need to try and get out of the longer grass, and in some way just get out of the rough. Don't keep trying to hack it down the rough.
Yeah.
If you sort of see say for example, you sort of draw a little picture on it. Say the flag is kind of there, and you're over on the right hand side in the rough here now. Say the fairway is kind of there. Don't just keep going hack that way. Go 1 and then 2.
Yeah.
Get it back on the fairway, then you can hit your 50, 60, 70 yard shot, because you'll struggle to get much distance out of the rough.
Yeah.
So just get out sideways or a slight diagonal somewhere towards this way, get back on the fairway whereby you can get your distance back. Because if you just keep going 10 yards, 20 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, and the more you duff them, the more frustrated you get.
Yeah.
The more you try and lift it, the worse it gets, and you just keep hacking down a hole somewhere, and 10 shots later on the green.
Yeah.
So get out on the fairway somewhere, get yourself back in play, and then you can then work yourself down the fairway. Okay. But yeah, probably start off with, like I say, what's the longest iron you got in the bag with the clubs you've got now? 5 iron or 6 iron, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
So tee off with that one. We'll hit a couple of 6 irons now to see how far that 6 iron goes.
Yeah.
Maybe about sort of 70 or 80 yards, I would suggest.
Yeah.
And then the pitching wedge will be about sort of 50-ish yards, give or take.
Okay.
Okay, make sense?
Yeah. No, that's
excellent,
great.
Good
Thanks.
stuff.